So to start, I just wanted to go through the injury list. There's a number of guys obviously on that. To start with, I'll just go down the list. How's Audie doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off by saying I don't have a ton of information on all these guys because we just had one training so far this week with recovery coming back from New York. So, I don't have a lot of clear answers on a lot of these questions with regards to whether or not they're gonna factor in the game. So I'll just start things right off the bat with that. I'll know more probably tomorrow on Friday whether or not these guys will be available. Obviously, Vitas came out, obviously, the game with a shoulder, sublux shoulder, and Maddox came out with a bit of a knee contusion. Obviously, Audie's working himself back in, but we don't have any clear, concrete to speak of about him yet. We'll know more as the week goes on. Same thing with Ridgie in evaluating his fitness.
And then I guess, so all those guys are kind of just, we don't know yet, of the ones you mentioned. And then Gleason and Marco Farfan, I noticed, had been coming back, but...
Yeah, Marco's injury got missed. He injured it with T2 in the game and re-injured his ankle. So unfortunately, he's going to be out again for a couple more weeks.
And Jake?
Yeah, Jake. I think I talked about Jake last week. He was training. He was healthy.
In terms of that, then in terms of that, Jake and Jeff, you had said last week that Jake, you didn't want to push it with 90 minutes. As he gets healthier, I mean, how is this decision for you? Obviously, with how well Jeff Attinella has been playing, whether to put Jake back in or let Jeff keep going.
Same as any other position. Obviously goalkeeper, I've said before, it gets talked about a lot. Maybe it's the quarterback controversy in football. I don't know why it is, but it's the goalkeeper position is the same as any other position. We make decisions every week on whether or not guys play in every position in the 11 positions and then the bench. So it's really no different. We'll make the same decision on that as we do all the other positions based on what we know, current form, past evidence, and what we see in training, what we've seen in the past games.
Talking about a different player, Diego Valeri started to get a little bit more interest in terms of national media kind of talking about the MVP race. How did you evaluate where he stands in this league and this year and what he's doing, and how much you think he should be factoring into the MVP consideration?
Well, I don't evaluate that because I evaluate just the next game and trying to win games. I'm not really concerned about whether or not he's winning the MVP race, but I think he's worthy of being in that conversation, certainly based on the obvious reasons: his form, his production, and he's having a career year.
What he's been able to do with Audie being out, obviously Audie's been out 5 games and Valeri's been able to score in all those games. Does that speak to maybe just his adaptability as a player in terms of being able to provide what the team needs in the moments, when the team needs it?
I think he always plays well. He always scores goals. I don't think really anything's changed. Obviously, he scored goals in 7 games because he's in form and confident, and I think it is ironic that has come when Audie's been gone. You have to start to look at, is it because of Darren's movement that opens up space, or is it just because Valeri is a guy that scores goals anyways? So he's just happened to. So is it a coincidence? Is there a reason? I haven't really thought that hard about it, other than we're playing well, we've done well in this last 8 games, and we're in good form, and hopefully we can continue to be in that form. Valeri's obviously always been a key guy for us. There's nothing different with that. He's always been a key guy over the 5 years and always produced goals. But you'd have to say he's hotter than ever right now in terms of the goals, at least. That's great for him. It's great for our team.
Caleb, Jeff Attinella, we saw him sort of do something with his shoulder when he made those great saves. Just checking if he's fine in that regard.
Yeah, again, I don't have any of those answers today. You know, we had a light train today, and most of the guys that were questionable didn't train today. So, you know, like I said from the beginning, I just don't have those answers. I'm sorry.
So he is questionable, quote unquote? Or
I don't know. What's that mean? I think all the guys are questionable if they're not in training, you know, or if they've been injured, and you know, so what? Yeah, I mean, I guess what if that means that they might not play? Then again, I don't know. I said that right from the beginning. I don't have answers.
no, I was just clarifying if Jeff was one of those guys in that group, because he obviously finished the game, so.
Right. He obviously has a sore shoulder, so that's all I know.
Okay.
I don't know if he was limited in training. Obviously, it was a light training today, and so yeah. I mean, if you want to call it questionable, then yeah, he could be questionable.
Just talk about what he's brought to the team during the stretch. I mean, obviously he's made some great saves, but you had talked when you signed him that you signed him because you thought he could be a starter. But just talk about not just the plays he's made, but the way he sort of, I guess, ingrained himself as a starter the last few weeks.
Yeah, you know, we said it a bunch. I've said it a bunch of times in here and prior to the year that we thought he was one of the best backups in the league, and really when you're looking at it, he was behind, backing up, you know, arguably the best goalkeeper in the history of the league, so he probably wouldn't have been a backup unless he was there, and that's why we signed him, that's why we liked him, and you know, I think he's done what we thought he'd do. We knew he was going to push, and when he played, we knew he was going to be good, and he's shown that. You know, I mean, we bring in guys not just to be backups here. We bring in guys to push the starters, and ideally, you want 22 starting players, and then it shakes out based on how guys play and perform. And you know, there are going to be opportunities that come about in an MLS season with injuries, and he's certainly done extremely well. So we're glad we made that signing.
And just talk about RSL and kind of the form they're in and what you see as the main challenges this week.
Yeah, always had quality. Like I said, it going into the last time we played them, obviously they showed that quality in the game that last game we played versus them. Of course, the red cards factored in, but they've always had quality. You know, they're not a ton different than the team that last year, you know, looked very good. Maybe even added a few pieces. So they're a good team. They've always had quality. I'd say they're a lot better than their standing. You know, their last 2 home games, they scored 8 goals, 4 in each game at home. You know, they know it's do or die. I mean, based on kind of looking at scenarios, they have to pretty much win 4 or 5 and maybe even more to have a chance. You know, this is an important game for them because obviously if they don't get the result, it might mean they're out. You know, it's going to be tight because they don't have the games in hand that some of the other teams have, which makes it, you know, more difficult. You start to kind of add things up and do the math. I know they're not doing that right now because, you know, they got to sell everything on the next game, and there's no chance if they don't win the next game type of thing. So that's all they'll be focused on, but you know, they're going to have a really good run here in the last 5 to realistically have a chance, and it starts with our game, and they'll be aggressive. They're a very good attacking team. They've shown that in the last 2 home games. Like I said, scoring 8 goals, and I think they have as much as anybody in the league, to be honest with you. And a bit surprised that, you know, honestly, they're in this position because I think they're a good team, and you know, they were injured when Mike first got the job. I think that's the only reason, really, that they're behind it a little bit, because clearly he's had an impact, and they're playing well, and their attacking group is scoring, which you knew they would, but they had quite a few injuries for a period of games, and talked about that with Mike as well, and you know, I think that's been the real difference. They dropped some points early on when he took over. It's going to be a tough game, and obviously we have some questions, and but you know, it's a big game for them. It's a big game for us because we want to be in the 1 or 2 seed. So we're going to keep fighting for that, and that's been our mindset. So we're not going to change anything. We're not going to change a thing. We're not changing training. We're in a very good rhythm, and we've pretty much kept that rhythm through this 8-game stretch. We've been keeping things simple and making sure guys are fresh, and not changing too much in terms of the way we're playing, home or away, respecting every opponent, but pretty much focusing on ourselves and playing aggressive. And that's been a really good formula for us in doing so well in these recent games.